It's the end of the year, so I'm not in my office, right? I'm back at home. I'm working on what's called my annual report, where I type up all of the teaching and service and scholarship that I did. Now, basically all my scholarship is wrapped up in my work on hip-hop, and most of that is on this channel. So while I'm writing this up, I sort of realize, this last year has been a great year for me in terms of reaching more of an audience and promoting my ideas more clearly, but this really because of two series that have taken off this year. The first, of course, is the Drake and Kendrick beef, which is probably why you're here, but then the other was back in the winter when I started talking about the music and art of Rxk Nephew. And so it's obvious that I should somehow figure out a way to talk about those things combining with Rxk Nephew's song, What Does BBL Even Mean? His freestyle over the Metro Boomin beat BBL Drizzy. And I'm going to explain to you why I believe we could say that he actually won the beef, that it wasn't Drake, it wasn't Kendrick, it was him. And of course, this will give me a chance to talk about that beat, which everyone loves talking about, and I didn't even rank in my best beats of the beef, and sort of continue to this overall record that I'm trying to create here. This kind of record of what one academic is thinking, while this huge moment in culture and hip-hop culture and popular culture and American culture and world culture, all that. Like, here are just some thoughts that are going on. So I am Professor Skye, the always positive new music review show, and I've talked about Rxk Nephew, and what I try to do is I try to take him really seriously, because he's kind of a jester figure, right? He likes being silly, he likes poking holes at things, he likes being outrageous. If you don't follow him on Instagram, I don't even know why you have Instagram. Like, you should just do that, But beneath the funniness, beneath the silliness, there is, I believe, very, very long-standing philosophical tradition. As I like to say, never underestimate the intelligence of somebody who makes you laugh. So I have compared him to Diogenes, the great cynic, and you should watch that video. I'll include a link to it in the end or in the description. It's a very good video, in my opinion, but primarily what I want you to have is the image, the central image of Diogenes, as I'm here surrounded by my dogs, like Diogenes was, holding up a lamp and walking around, and people saying, Diogenes, why are you holding up a lamp? And he says, I am looking to find a reasonable man, and I still cannot find one. Okay, that's his diss to the whole world, that he's looking all over the place to find somebody worthy of his respect, and he can't find one. I think we should look at Rxk Nephew's work, and especially this song, as him holding up a lamp, looking through this whole beef, looking at all these characters, and trying to find a real rapper. I guess we could say a real man, trying to find someone real. Let's just say that. Let's not even define what real means. And he is unable to find them. I also discussed in my first video about him the concept of epistemology. How do we acquire knowledge? That's one of my favorite things about his rapping and his lyrics is he's constantly asking questions and just trying to figure out, like, why are things like this? Why are things like that? Why do we think this? Why do we think that? Now, this is sort of closely tied into something called theology, which is the study of truth, but I'm not going to... I started going down that path. It's not very fruitful. I think we'll just stick with the concept of epistemology as a general search for knowledge and truth, like understanding knowledge and truth. And what this song, What Does BBL Even Mean, has to do, it's all questioning the truth. Like, what is real? How do we take off all these masks that all these people are wearing and get to the reality? And what I think is great is that this emphasizes my general take on the meaning of this beef. And I think a lot of us are hip to this. It's not really about who hits their wife or, their children's mother, or who has a secret kid, or who touches kids, all those things. It's really about rap itself. It's about hip-hop itself. It's about, as I said in I think my first video on this, about the sort of the soul of hip-hop. And Rxk Nephew is here to tell you that it's corrupted. that he's looking around with a lamp and he only finds darkness and falsehood. Like many other people, many other cynics who are trying to find a way to shine a light on the darkness, the emptiness, the void of meaning, I would say that Rxk Nephew is very, very postmodern. I'm not going to get into a definition of postmodernity because, Jesus Christ, it just takes up too much time. But I will just say this, one of the main functions of what we call postmodern is that modern values are often seen as the most recent development of classical values, that we have values that go back centuries, okay? And so these values are almost unquestioned, or they really were unquestioned until like late 19th, early 20th century. The postmodern is designed to destroy those values by putting them into question. Sometimes it's through satire. Usually it's through satire, sort of a comic exaggeration of them. But what happens is you take these classical values and you put them under a lamp, you put them under a microscope, you analyze them, and you show that those values aren't there. You have to put the values into question. And in Rxk Nephew's case, and especially in this song's case, the classical values, we're not talking about Western thought and all that. We're talking about hip-hop. We're talking about rap music. We're talking about beats. We're talking about rhymes. We're talking about the competitive nature of rap and the value of beef. All of these values that are being reinforced by this beef are being attacked in a postmodern way by this song, What Does BBL Even Mean? And what's important is when you attack these values, you cannot help but have everyone question those values. When, I don't know, Andy Warhol painted a Brillo box or painted a soup can, he made us ask, what is art, what is advertisement, what are commercials, what is the difference between, like just by doing something so shocking and unexpected and so apparently against the values that were previously held, he makes us question those values themselves. Because, the most effective way to figure out if the rules of a game are the correct rules is to break those rules and see what happens. And all throughout this song, and all throughout, it seems, his entire catalog, RXKNephew is constantly trying to break these rules. And he's not breaking the rules to cheat and to get ahead, but to break the game itself. If you like what you watch, smash the like button, subscribe. AVAA means awesome videos always. I'll always try to comment. And I don't take sponsorships. I don't do advertisements. But listen, I've been chosen by fate. Fate has brought me to a different Rochester artist named Beach Boy Nino. And I'm going to be doing a review of Beach Boy Nino's most recent album. And I'm going to be linking it at the end of this video. And please do me a favor, okay? Please go watch that. All right? It's interesting. What do I mean? How was I chosen by fate? How did a bad haircut lead to me discovering an artist? Okay? So please check that out. You'll learn some fun stuff. We'll have a nice discussion. It's going to be based loosely around the concept that maybe Rxk Nephew's style is itself becoming a new kind of style. Not just someone who breaks style, but someone who makes a style that can be followed. All right, so let's get into the song. What does BBL even mean? Let's have the beat. The beat itself, even without Rxk Nephew's interjection, is a postmodern nightmare, okay? Everything when we're talking about the values that we hold. Hip-hop itself was postmodern in attacking the concept of what is creativity. So if Prince Paul takes a sample and mixes it together with another sample, is that just him ripping off two people, or is that him creating something new, right? The values of creativity and originality. So now we have AI thrown in, where we have computers creating a beat. So let's just break this all down. King Wallonius is a comedian who made a beat using AI. Metro Boomin sampled that beat. So it's a real sample of a fake song that he is then turning into a contest to see if people can rap over it, and he will give them $10,000 and an original beat. It's already a nightmare. It's already this weird nightmare of like, is there an artist somewhere in this whole thing? Is there an artist? I suppose King Wallonius, by coming up with the idea and giving the prompt. Anyways, I'm not going to have an AI debate right here, but suffice it to say, right off the bat, the noisiness and the insanity of this beat, I'm pretty sure, Rxk Nephew is intentionally having this sound ugly and confusing and lapped over and just cacophonous. It's like the way it sounds. I mean, he eventually gives himself a little bit of time and space to rap, but in general, it's just this super ugly, noisy. It's fake. It's weird. It's fake. It's a fake beat. It's not real. What are the first words? The first words that Nephew says, I don't even like this beat. Okay? So, immediately, there are the rules of the game. You have to try to please Metro Boomin. You have to try to do something great with this beat. And he just immediately says, I don't like this beat. Later, he asks, why would you even make this beat? Finally, he gives the answer. You better be lucky I love my fans. That's why I did this beat. So he's highlighting the falseness of the beat. And the fact that this is happening at all is in some way a failure. It kind of speeds up, it slows down. And the funny thing is, the most well-known RXKNephew songs are ones where he loops the beat. He just says, do it over again, because he has this vomitous style of, sorry, I keep hitting my plant, this kind of vomitous style of freestyle where he just kind of talks and sometimes rhymes and sometimes doesn't. And you just like are along for a ride with someone really interesting, just talking endlessly. Hopefully that's the tagline to this show. Someone interesting talking endlessly. But he does not loop this beat. And I think that's on purpose. I think we're supposed to say, okay, it's not there. So let's study. Let's study how he's a devotee of the truth. The way that each thing here, he takes over and attacks all of these things that appear to be real and attacks them as false. Individual rappers, the actual beef, the industry that promotes them, and against those things are the larger true things, which are his street cred, his faithfulness to his fans, and his ability to see falseness. Eventually, I'm going to get to Descartes and radical doubt, but you're going to have to wait till the end of that, okay? So much confusion. All these targets are all mixed up. Like, he'll say one thing, and then he'll change a target, and then he'll go back to that first target. So I'm just going to take this line by line it, okay? I'm just going to take it line by line it and just sort of see the way that he's going through. Like, what is the seemingly hazardous structure to the song that serves this constant function of a dude just walking around with a lamp and just finding absolutely nothing. I don't even like this beat. Why the F you all got this beef? You Ns knew that Ns had a BBL, man. You hang with Ns, with BBLs, man. You get net Ns and do all this. Man, this ish stupid, man. Why you even make this beat? Why would Drake get a BBL? Why would all these people get BBLs? What the F does BBL even mean? If you watched my video recently, I didn't make it clear that I understood that the accusation was that Drake got abs and not his butt. Look at last week, last Friday, over 100,000 views. Thank you, world. Most of the comments are like, Skye, he didn't actually get a BBL, but this is true. Like, why? Like, RXKNephew is not asking, what does BBL mean? He knows what BBL means. He knows it means Brazilian butt lift. He's asking, and this is what he does. He's asking a deeper question. He's not asking, what does BBL mean? He means, what does it mean? What is the meaning of BBL? What is the meaning that we are discussing BBL? What does this say about our civilization, about hip-hop culture, about rap music? What does it mean? Don't you dare say it means Brazilian butt lift. Because RXKNephew is going to tell you what it means. Falsity, lies, ruses, masks, pretending. That's what BBL means. And that's what this song is about. Shit sound wild zesty. He has a way with words. Watch this. So immediately he deflates the stakes of the beef. Why Kendrick picking on the weak? So it sounds like he's just insulting Drake, but he's not. He's just like, why would you even attack Drake? Like that's beneath you, you know? Like it's sort of like that Jay-Z line, you know? If you shoot me, you're famous. If I shoot you, I'm brainless, right? It's actually an example of what they call asymmetrical warfare. And it's true. Kendrick trying to attack Drake in a beef is asymmetrical warfare. Drake isn't even in the same planet as Kendrick in terms of his ability to rap and write rhymes, okay? So just immediately, why Kendrick pick it on the weak, and then bam, why N's doing marketing schemes about this fake beef. So, the first two lines, he says that the beef itself is stupid because there's no way Kendrick can lose, because he's essentially fighting with a 5-year-old. And then he's calling the entire beef fake and calling it a marketing scheme. You better be lucky I love my fans. That's why I did this beat. Why Kendrick Lamar beefing with a who is never in the street. This is one of these other themes that's going to keep coming back. Who is in the street? And again, I don't think this is necessarily about him just being proud of being someone who is, on the streets and doing the crimes that he raps about, all that stuff. I think the street here is a replacement for true. Like true to yourself, like true to where you come from, true to the origins of hip-hop itself. Like maybe this whole song is a huge screed in favor of the true values of hip-hop by somebody who is not making a beat and who is not rhyming and who is not spitting bars, okay? Maybe this is the greatest defense of the values after all, because he's pointing out the falsity of those who are apparently playing by the rules? Okay, then later, wait, am I jumping through here? Wait, I have like all the lyrics here. Yeah, okay. I just, even I'm going to be mixed up here because my notes went one way and then they went a different way. But I'm just going to keep doing that. So later on the same concept, he says, y'all thought Meek Mill was street, y'all thought Rick Ross was street, y'all thought Gunna was in the street. Guess you paid to think. I love that idea. Okay? The idea that you are paid to think. Like, what does that mean? You think Meek Mill was street. So you're paid to think. So it's actually, I don't know, I'm not going to go as far as to say it's anti-capitalist, but I'm going to go as far as to say it's questioning the relationship between like the social media atmosphere that we are paid to think that Rick Ross was street. So I thought, I'm looking at my notes here, and I could have swore that I just had them line by line, but I'm actually kind of mixing it up. But this all works, okay? This all works. I'm doing it intentionally to echo the style of Rxk Nephew. And what's great is he's constantly going back and forth, deflating and defending Drake. Like this is actually, it's trying to be what I'm trying to do. Can I say one more thing about bias? Stop saying you're biased in Kendrick's favor because you said that he won the beef. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, stop saying that you're biased against against Drake. Like, most people who say, like, it's just not true. Stop trying to cover your ass. I am not biased against Drake. I like Drake. I am capable of seeing his flaws. I'm not biased. I got my 2 dogs here. I got Bo and Toby. I'm not biased against Toby, but he's the one who's probably going to jump up and start barking when the garbage man comes. I'm not biased against him. Hey, Toby, stop barking. That doesn't mean I'm biased for Bo. Sorry. Now they're activated. Anything I know, Bump Drake got locked up for domestic violence. Just this line. Like everybody he knows who listens to the most popular musician in the world, the most streamed whatever in the history of everything, the only person coming close to Taylor Swift, all that stuff. Everyone who listens locked up for domestic violence. Ridiculous hyperbole. All my beef from the hood, I can't beef with the industry. These n's on TV, how the F is they in the streets. So constantly this idea of streets and industry and TV. So there's the truth, which is the streets, and then there's the falsehood, which is TV, and which is the industry. But he goes even further. Like, he throws out these little lines, and you think he's just goofing around. Kendrick said, a whole pool full of liquor, and he might dive in. I'm really addicted to alcohol. I might die with it. He is talking about his very real alcoholism, which he... Listen, if you're an Rxk Nephew fan, like, just stop, like, thumbs upping and, like, laughing about the drinking too much Hennessy. It seems to me like he wants to stop. And I think he'd be more interesting if he lived for a long time and was a healthy, happy person. That's personally me. That's just me. It's old moralizing Professor Skye. But still, even there, it's like the falsehood of Kendrick. He's saying the reality is not this kind of fancy whole pool of liquor. The reality is I'm addicted. And then just talking all about the beef itself. Them might as well fight, doing all that fighting on the internet and not in real life. I can't believe I'm rapping on a beat that said BBL. Just in the middle of the song, he can't believe it. And this is probably why people like this stuff so much, because you really buy the bewilderment, the confusion. I'm actually sort of thinking about that line from Mr. Morale from Father Time, where Kendrick's like, when Drake and Kanye got back together, I was slightly confused. Like the whole time, he's like, why am I talking about this? Like, why am I on this beat? Why am I doing this at all? Why are any of us doing this? Why are you watching? Why am I making this video? Why are you watching this video? What does BBL even mean? Why are we all in the world of BBL? Why? You going to hell? And then, okay, we have the question of the homophobia of the song, which I'm sure you've already started typing about. Props, okay? I'm anti-homophobic very much. I don't think he's being homophobic here. He says, I ain't got shit against gay people, but you are gay. I think this is the idea. In my opinion, based on what he says later, I don't think he's really talking. I think this is the concept that there's like male posturing, and the male posturing that goes on with being somebody who sleeps around and has all this luck with women and all this stuff. I think he's saying this to indicate that there is a truth that is being hidden. Now, unfortunately, it's in a sort of homophobic framing of like the idea of being gay as being not manly, which of course isn't true, not being strong, which of course isn't true, all those things. But I think that's the basic idea. And listen, if you can't forgive the song because of this line, I don't blame you. I understand. But to me, that's not what it is. It's not saying gay people are bad. It's saying this person is false. All these different ways. And this is the thing. Who's you? Who is you that he's talking about? You talk about it with the BBL, boy, you going to hell. So I think he's saying that Kendrick is gay on this line. He's gay for talking about someone with a BBL, which then makes this a different question. This makes this an unfortunate usage of a term as an insult, okay? Like, when I was growing up, using the term gay as an insult was very common amongst groups of young men, okay? It just happened all the time, and then we stopped doing it. Newsflash, within 10 years, men will stop calling other men the B word. No, we won't. Yes, you will. Newsflash, within 30 years, we are not going to call each other dumb, stupid, a whole bunch of them. Idiots. There's a whole bunch of ableist words we are no longer going to use. They're going to be just as offensive to people in the future as this is of calling someone gay. Anyways, that's not to excuse it, but I think it's to explain it. How Metro produced with Future, but Future cool with Drake. I think this is funny because I think what he's saying is that they're all cool together, because you hear it and it doesn't actually connect as a line. How did Metro produce with Future, but Future's cool with Drake? Like, how does that all mix together? It doesn't, because it's actually that Metro produces for Drake, and it's showing off that they're all mixed in together. The falseness of this whole thing. And then he defends Drake. All y'all dissing Drake. I'm convinced you wish you was Drake. Just come out the closet. I'm convinced y'all are Kelly trapped in the closet. If Drake a pedophile, then why the hell he ain't locked up? Or they ain't lock him up. So here we have the actual Drake defense, which is I'm too famous and rich to be all these things, which is ridiculous coming from him, but coming from someone else is sort of yeah, I guess I sort of make that sense. But then he gets to the other part of it, which is the jealousy, and this is what he's pointing out. This is the other problem. Kendrick is jealous of Drake. We're all jealous of Drake. We all hate him and think he's terrible and all that, blah blah blah. But we're all jealous. We're all upset at the position that he holds. Now, we can sit there and say, I am upset with the position that he holds because his mother was not black and he didn't have a black American experience. Yes, all that's true. All those things are true. Every single possible complaint you could have, that he just hops on styles, that he's a cultural vulture, etc., 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 etc. But also, you're kind of hating. We're kind of hating. We're kind of how is he so popular? That's why when I said, is Drake going to win this beef? Is he going to win the soul of hip-hop? I don't want it to be true, but I'm saying, is it possible that that's where it is now? That we all just want to be Drake. And once we realize that, we hate that in ourselves, and then we start attacking him. Is Kendrick Drake? Is that the point that Nephew's making here? Maybe Kendrick is Drake. Maybe Kendrick is a lot more like Drake than people who are like, yeah, Kendrick won this battle, would like to admit. Maybe you're Drake. Maybe I'm Drake. Okay? Maybe we are all talking about BBL. What does BBL even mean? BBL means the falseness of our entire civilization being brought before us. I'm just convinced the whole industry is toxic as fuck. So this is the whole thing. This is essentially what he's doing. He's just bringing everybody down to the same level. Everybody is gay in a general sense. Everybody is fake. Everybody is not street. All these different terms that are used to indicate that they are not as they present themselves. Okay? Like, I'm positive if Kendrick came out and said, I'm gay, this would not be in here. The joke is not that he is gay. The joke is that there's falseness. And then he gets to the freaking capitalist root of the entire beef. Jesus Christ. Every year, y'all want a beef. This shit is wrestling. You might as well beef with Stone Cold. Whole rap WrestleMania. That's the truth. That's what we want. You know, I don't know if you saw that Josh Johnson video about it. It's very good. He refers to the internet as all gas, no brakes. You know, this is what we want. We just want to keep... The reason that you don't want any breaks is that you just want to keep more content. You want to keep more content because it feeds our lizard brains. That's why you're watching this video. That's why I'm making this video. That's why I watch every other video about this. Whoever makes it and whoever talks about it, we want it. We want to consume more, and all the companies keep taking. And it's just like kayfabe. It's just performance. That's what RXKNephew is bringing out to us. It's wrestling. We might as well beef with Stone Cold. I'll beef with Stone Cold. Hey, Stone Cold Austin, compared to Coco Beware, you suck. So, bring it on. Are you the one that can't be seen? No, that's John Cena. Whatever your thing is, are you the drinking beer guy? I will beat you in an arm wrestling contest. Okay? Online. And then we have this whole like attack on Drake right after this great defense of Drake. N-word screaming gang gang, but your whole gang weird. Oh wait, I missed this whole thing. Ice Spice saying Drake weird, whole world no Drake queer. Going into this whole question of queerness and gayness as, again, I would say, not really in the homophobic sense, but an over-the-top way of illustrating falseness in presentation, which follows in the next line. N-words say, screaming gang gang, but your whole gang's weird. N-word on TV shows, and you got the nerve to talk about starting from the bottom, now you're here. We couldn't afford no damn Jordans, remember my first pair. Like, this is... It's so awesome, because he's simultaneously in the same verse, in the same song, making all the points that Drake makes to defend himself, plus making all the points that people make to attack Drake, because that's the whole point. Like, you can't say you're from the street, you can't say you're gang gang, you're from a TV show. You didn't start from the bottom, you started from Degrassi Junior High. Okay, you started from Jimmy Cooks, whatever kind of Jimmy you are, that's where you started. Okay? What was that thing, Marky Mark? Anyways, there's a funny Marky Mark line with Jimmy Hats, but that's a whole other thing. Kendrick signed to TDE, I'm signed to the streets. Drake was signed to Lil Wayne, I'm signed to the street. The Game tatted a butterfly and signed 50 Cent. Lil Durk signed to French Montana, I was in the street. Constantly going back to him as the only real street rapper. I think that's really what it is. Like, I don't think this is a question of gay or straight. I think this is a question of street or not. And I think it is a fair thing to do to expand street to being, like, true to the soul of hip-hop and rap music. I think we could sort of say that that's his perspective. Young Chop went crazy when Kanye stole his beat. Was he paying attention to the Like That remix where he says that he invented drill? I'm just kidding, it's Young Chop. Is that what this is? And then... Neff brings us a feminist sidebar. They tried to get Glorilla and Sexy Red with a fake beef. Thank you for pointing that out. There is a conspiracy. And the conspiracy is not that we should all be drinking horse tranquilizer to get rid of the flu. It's that there's, systems of power that make money off of marginalized people, reinforcing their marginalization. One of those ways is female rappers constantly being pitted against each other, constantly fought to feed into this narrative that women can't get along, that there is only space at the top for one. Glorilla can exist, Sexy Red can exist, they can exist at the same time. They tried to get Glorilla and Sexy Red with a fake beef because they didn't want WWE. They wanted Glorious Ladies of Wrestling, which my friend Jonathan used to make me watch. I did not want to watch that as a kid. He just wanted to watch it. I don't know. Hey, man. You know what? He was a couple years older than me. I think maybe I'm starting to understand why he wanted to watch it, and I didn't. And then he talks about what matters to him. I don't give a fuck about the industry long as the kids eat. This is that kind of altruistic streak in him. He cares about the kids eating. They line about the age, they're hiding kids like Charles Manson taking out their ribs. Now this is funny because I think, okay, there's two options. One, he's just talking and he made a mistake, okay? Because Marilyn Manson allegedly took out a rib so he could perform fellatio on himself, okay? Or this is a diabolical thought that he has. This is some kind of brilliant. Now listen, I clowned on Kendrick for saying Haley Joel Osteen, and 1,000 people in the comments said that was on purpose. He was intentionally mixing them together to emphasize the mega church falseness and AI and all that stuff. Okay, so if we're going to give Kendrick the credit, let's give Nephew the credit. Because mixing up Charles Manson and Marilyn Manson is very funny. Even Marilyn Manson, because, he's under problems for sexual assault. You know what I mean? So just by saying Charles Manson, you're making an equivalence between these two figures. I don't know. And also there's a lot of conspiracy around Marilyn Manson because when he was a kid, the actor starred in the TV show Wonder Years. Don't you dare Snopes me. It's true. It's true. I don't care if they have different names, different social security numbers, and if they don't even look alike. It is 100% true that the kid from Wonder Years, who wasn't played by Fred Savage, the Paul Dano is Marilyn Manson, okay? Just look it up. Do your own research. Can I make merch out of that? Paul Dano is Marilyn Manson. Paul Dano played the character in Wonder Years. All this trauma, all that ish, did. Drake told Metro Boomin to get on them drums. You've seen Gucci Maneberry, Poke Look Body, trying to start a rap beef, start a body. And then he returns to defending Drake. I know Drake probably F your B. That's why you mad at him. And that's the other truth. That's the thing. That's true. That's why most people are mad at Drake, because he's just so icky with that stuff, and because he's moved around so much. Making, since you're so damn rich, put a bag on him, saying essentially, if you are so rich, why don't you just have Drake killed? If this is real beef, why is this not real beef? Making AI beats and putting tags on them. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Why didn't I review the song? Why didn't I say? Because it's an AI beat. And putting tags on them. You know who should put a tag on an AI beat? ChatGPT. ChatGPT on the beat, right? Whatever it's called. Whatever the programs are called. I don't know. T1000 on the beat. That's what it should be. If Drake got a BBL, then I feel bad for him. This is why. This is the last line of the song. It's not the last words he's going to say, but this is the last line of the verse before he gives up. If Drake got a BBL, then I feel bad for him. He's feeling sympathy. He's suffering. Compassion to suffer with. Because it's that's the proper answer. If you're that famous, and you're that rich, and you have that much power, and you do something so ridiculous, so self-defeating, so insecure. If Drizzy really is BBL Drizzy, and he is, then he feels bad for him. But it's also BBL Kung Fu Kenny. It's also BBL everyone else in here. It's BBL everyone who raps who's not in the streets the way that RXKNephew sees it. I'm BBL, and he feels sorry for me. Okay, I promised you I'd get to Descartes. I bought this used copy. I did not do those drawings. I wish I did. Whoever did that. Let's see if I got a name in here. No one wrote their name in here? Okay, well, random artist to deface Descartes, Discourse on the Method. Let's see how I get to Descartes, okay? This is how the whole song ends. Yeah, I can't do this beat no more. I'm done with this beat, okay? I did this for the fans. I did this for the folks. I gotta tell my truth. They want me to speak how I speak and how I be feeling. Sometimes they don't want to hear me talk. So I'm just going to talk to this microphone inside this microphone. So this whole ending bit is this hilarious ending where he's just giving up because it's just too whack. It's just too whack. It's beneath him, okay? This isn't a brainstorm beat like the producer who produced his new album that just dropped today. I haven't listened to it, but Brainstorm's a good producer. He actually produced half of the Beach Boy Nino album, which you're going to watch that review right after this one, okay? You promised at the beginning. You promised. You said, Skye, if you talk at least 35 minutes about RXKNephew song that's never going to be released, I promise I will watch your Beach Boy Nino video and learn about the haircut of destiny. Okay. So he's just giving up. I can't do this beat no more. I'm done with this beat. I did it for the fans, I did it for the folks. What's fascinating is he's like, what people want from him is to tell the truth. So he's sort of understanding this philosophical role that he fills. Because that's the thing. Like, you can go to RXKNephew for beats and rhymes and stuff, and that's the new project that he dropped. You know, it's a rap thing, but then he has these songs that stand outside of it, that exist as truly philosophical treatises. But what's fascinating is at the end he says, sometimes they don't want to hear me talk. Who's they? His fans? So I'm just going to talk to this microphone, inside this microphone. The reason I bring up Descartes is that Descartes said his most famous thing was, I think, therefore I am. Now, I talk about this on the channel quite often because it's one of my jobs on planet Earth to make sure that people understand the meaning of I think, therefore I am, okay? It's the foundation of most modern philosophical thought, and I think it needs to be properly understood so that people don't wear t-shirts that say, like, you know, I do marathons, therefore I am, or I eat at Chili's, therefore I am, okay? This is the way it breaks down. Descartes said, I need to figure out what is true. I need to figure out one thing I can be certain of. Is there anything we can be 100% certain of? Okay? So that's the way he thought of it. So he said, if I apply what's called radical doubt, which I would say is what Rxk Nephew uses on this whole song, radical doubt. Doubt everything you are not 100% certain of. So you're watching me on YouTube, but do I exist? You're sitting in front of your computer. Your mom's in the next room or in a different house or is 6 feet underground somewhere in Rhode Island, okay? Did your mom exist? Did she or can you be 100% sure that there's not some elaborate prank being played on you? That we are not in, Descartes didn't say a simulation, but that's the basis, okay? I could be a figment of your imagination, the same that everything around me, from Bo and Toby to my stripy couch, could be a figment of my own imagination. It's impossible. It is totally possible. I am sitting in a room thinking of this whole thing, or sitting in a pod. Therefore, if we break everything down, what's the one thing that we know? There's only one thing we know, and that's that we thought. We thought that thought. That's one thing that we cannot fake, is that actual thought. To think is the only evidence of our existence, the only tangible thing we cannot doubt. So everything's been reduced to thinking. It's the only thing you're positive you do. Therefore, I think, therefore I am. And it's not I think, therefore you are. I don't know if you are. I don't know if you exist. I don't know if you clicked on the video. I don't know if you said ADA. I don't know if you exist. I hope you exist. Because if you don't, why am I thinking? You know what? I thought of a pretty good life for myself, but still, okay? Why did I invent Descartes? I invented Descartes. Jesus Christ, everything's spiraling out here. So we have to eliminate everything we cannot be sure of. At the end of this verse here, he's talking about falseness. He's talking about lies. He's talking about people not being what they say they are. He's questioning, what does BBL even mean? He's like all these things. And it boils down. I'm done with this. I did this for the fans. They want to hear me speak my truth. But then he says sometimes they don't want to hear my truth. So how does he end it? He ends it with explaining that he just is going to talk to this microphone, inside this microphone. So in that moment, everything else strips away. He's not thinking about Drake or Kendrick or the beef or the industry or the internet or his fans or the people around him. He is at that exact moment expressing the one thing that is happening, the one thing that he knows in terms of rapping and music and creativity, the one thing that he knows, that his voice is inside that microphone. Okay? Can I take off my microphone here and do that stupid thing that internet people do now where they hold the microphone for no goddamn reason? Okay? That's what he knows. His words are inside this microphone. It's not Zoolander. It's inside the computer, but it is Zoolander. All right? So that's what he explains. Through radical doubt. The only true thing is that his words are inside the microphone. I'm just going to have to leave that hanging. All right. Whew. So, should he win the $10,000 from Metro Boomin? No, it's beneath him. It's beneath him. It's totally beneath him. These are my Patreons. They help me buy stuff. They help me do goofy stuff like this. They help support me. I hope they all exist because I really appreciate their support. All right, now I got to go record that Beach Boy Nino video. There's the camera.